Are you looking for the best way to increase productivity and profits in your company? A way that leverages the strengths and skills of employees in the quickest manner possible? My guest on this episode of the Work Positive Podcast has your answer, Work Positive Nation: coaching in organizations. He's the Vice President of Coaching in Organizations for the world's largest coach credentialing association, the International Coaching Federation, better known as ICF. He has vast experience in elevating human resources to increase productivity and profits through coaching in organizations. Now, frankly, I'm a big fan of coaching in organizations. I earned the ICF Professional Coaching Certification, PCC, and my company is an ICF-approved provider of coach training. So you have the Good Work Positive seal of approval that this episode is worth listening to at least twice. So get ready to increase productivity and profits as you listen to this episode of the Work Positive Podcast.
Welcome to the Work Positive Podcast with your host, executive coach and culture architect, Dr. Joey Fawcett. Discover strategies and tactics that work positive as Dr. Joey talks with industry leaders who create a positive work culture that attracts top talent and reduces team turnover. Discover how you can create a work-positive culture that increases productivity and profits. Here's your host, Dr. Joey.
Work Positive Nation, help me welcome to this episode of the Work Positive Podcast, soon to be your new best friend, already my new best friend. Here's Robert Garcia. Robert, welcome to the Work Positive Podcast.
Thank you, Dr. Joey. It's a pleasure to be here today and talk about my favorite topic, coaching, and how we can help you fulfill your full potential.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much. By the way, episode 2 with Robert Garcia is going to be about his second favorite topic, which happens to be his granddaughters.
Right.
So, we'll come back for that one. Right? Wow. As I said in the introduction, I'm ICF certified, PCC, and then our company has a program that's ICF approved, coach training program. And so no coaches were harmed in the recording of this podcast because we love coaches and
I love it.
we train coaches all over the world. So this is an at-home conversation today.
Absolutely.
Robert, we're convinced in our company, and I know you are with ICF because you're VP of Coaching in Organizations, that coaching can create a positive work culture more effectively and faster than any other modality.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Culture is what drives organizations. It makes a difference. As we know, young generations join organizations today, and culture is a huge component of it. Certainly, data suggests that happy employees generate more revenue, you're more productive, retention rates are higher, and all of those indicators are important. And we feel that coaching is a driver of that culture, positive influence on the culture. Imagine everyone, so we strive for everyone to have coaches, right? Not just the senior leadership team, but everyone from the executives to the frontline employees. If everybody had a coach and was working on being better, more professional, more aligned with their goals, aligned with the strategy of the organization, you can't go wrong. Everybody's focused on what needs to be done and feeling really good about it. So we know that really there's a direct correlation with the improvements in productivity, engagement, collaboration, teamwork, profitability of the organizations. We've looked at data that suggests that those organizations that have a strong coaching culture do better, are more profitable. And really, it's a tremendous opportunity to improve morale, resilience, so many changes that we have today.
Yeah, absolutely. And in our experience, and I'm sure in yours too, Robert, Gen Z coming into the workforce now and into work environments, there's almost an expectation by them that they're going to get coached.
Absolutely. In fact, you've read our studies. We have determined that Millennials and Gen Zs are not only, when they're being interviewed, not only negotiating for hybrid work or at least remote work. So that's an important part, flexibility at work. But salary obviously is an important component. They're also interested in finding out what the company's mission is. So what do we stand for? What is our corporate social responsibility or ESG? But one of the other components they're asking for is like, not if I'm going to get a coach, when will I get a coach? Because you as the organization need to take care of me as an individual and my professional development. And especially the new generations, find it very useful to work with a coach to work through some of these areas and really reach their full potential.
Mm. And to reach their full potential, that's their goal because belonging is off the charts for them. They must
Right,
feel like they
right,
belong in an
right, right,
organization. And
right.
that's best navigated, if you will, through that coordination of daily task with the company mission. And so when I see myself in that regard, that I'm contributing to the mission of the company because that's important to me,
Yeah.
then I belong in this place. A coach can help me get from where I am to where I want to be in terms of my daily task, moving the needle forward for the company mission.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's an important part. And I need to align myself to that and feel that I'm growing as an individual and contributing to the overall goals of the organization.
hmm Yeah. Yeah. When you and I were coming along, we were the age of Gen Z, right? Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
for
yeah,
me, it was
yeah.
100 years ago, but anyway, well, when we were
Yeah.
coming along, there wasn't as much emphasis on that. It was put your head down, do your job, make it happen. Today, we're really redefining work and creating a positive work culture by that alignment between personal purpose and company mission, but also a demonstrated path of, if you want to call it career advancement, or a demonstrated path of professional development. So there is, even as I say professional development, Robert, I'm aware that it's an artificial separation between personal and professional development because what happens in my personal life affects my professional life and vice versa. Coaching really cuts across both personal and professional in helping me become my best version of myself, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Said as a ICF credentialed coach. Well said.
Well,
We
thank you.
appreciate that. Yeah, but frequently we hear, especially when because we work with organizations, right? This is the family organization or the division that really focuses on supporting the growth of coaching within organizations. So a lot of it is business coaching. So we focus on work and are we aligned with our personal goals? But frequently we see you're coaching the whole self. And we also look at the ripple effect that coaching has.
Mm,
So I'm working with you as an individual one-on-one, but how is that affecting your direct reports if you're a leader?
right.
How is that affecting your coworkers? How is
Mhm.
that, going outside the entire organization, your friends, family, all around you,
Community, right.
community, society, and we
hmm
want to transform the world through coaching.
Absolutely.
Lofty goal, but I think we are having an effect on entire society. And truly, I think that we envision a world where everyone has a coach. How much better would our communications be? How much better
Mm,
would we be to really understand what we're doing and how to solve some of the problems or
hmm
challenges that we face?
Yeah. So I'm seeking to attract top talent, and the workforce is unique today, shall we say? Maybe it's always been unique, but
Yeah.
the companies and organizations we work with, we hear so much about seeking talent of any kind, much less top talent, and just finding people who can come in and do the work. And that's across a broad swath of organizations, whether it's a healthcare organization or whether it's an elevator installation or GC company. The song is pretty much the same. So let's talk for a minute, Robert, based on your experience. How does saying to a potential top talent that you want to come, you're seeking to attract into your company, how much does it move the needle of attraction to the positive side when you can say to them, and in our organization, you'll have a coach?
Yeah, I think that is impactful. It's going to resonate with them. And if they don't know or they haven't experienced working with a coach, they're in for a tremendous treat. Because really, I think that once you've experienced coaching, you realize that it's a great opportunity to really reflect and to really talk about issues that you may be able to think out loud, try things out in a safe environment, no judgment zone, right?
That's right.
And you're going to be held accountable. So I think as an attraction method, it's wonderful. Not only will you get a coach, but we have a coaching culture. We have an organization that believes in employee development. We believe in you as an individual so that you can grow. And we're going to really value your time here and invest in your growth.
So they come to work for our organization, Robert, and we begin that coaching process. What effect does coaching have on reducing team turnover?
Yeah, so we see a lot of indicators. We provide organizations with tools and resources so that they can measure the impact of coaching on the organization. Many organizations are looking at how before and after the coaching and retention, turnover, productivity, looking at performance management systems, customer surveys, net promoter scores. All of those are clear indicators that the culture is changing or transforming and moving in the right direction. We have ICF Impact Awards, Coaching Impact Awards, and we recognize best in class. This year, we recognize the AstraZeneca, pharma giant, big organization, and they integrated coaching into their strategy. And they recognize that they were a better company as a result of the coaching initiatives, managers and leaders using coaching skills, as well as individuals participating in coaching. They shared a positive mindset in performance development. They built trust and safety, all through coaching. So there are our latest testimonial that coaching is working and that individuals are really finding. In fact, they have a wonderful video where people talk about how coaching changed their lives.
Wow.
And that's, as a fellow coach, you know what that means and how rewarding it is to hear that people are saying, this is great.
Jazz, man. That's the jazz. That's what you live for, or transformed lives. Because as we were talking about earlier, not only does the company achieve its mission, but that person goes home. And so then there's better home life, there's better community life. And I even take it as far as if we can get everybody a coach and suicide rates come down. And I mean, it's just the whole mental health issue. Not that coaching addresses mental health, but it allows you to more accurately address, I think, such things as that, societal issues that we all want to bring our best self to. So you mentioned assessments and a way to measure these results. So often, at least some of the conversations that we have initially, somebody told me we needed coaches around here. I don't know what we need those for, right? It's just too squishy for some people, especially the CFO types, right? And I'm being judgment free. Right. It's too squishy. Soft skills. Who needs soft skills, right? We want stuff that's going to drive the bottom line. My friend Lindsay Dowd, who used to be with IBM and is a coach in her own right at Heartbeat for Hire, she refers to them as power skills. So that's certainly an upgrade over soft skills, right? What are some of the ways that ICF equips organizations and companies like AstraZeneca to measure the ROI and the return on expectations for ROE as well?
Yeah, so we look at all the indicators that I measured, looking at the organization and at least giving them some guidelines. Here are the things that you need to focus on. Kind of what is the bottom line? When we look at the case study, so once companies apply, and once we award them or recognize them for their achievements, we sit with them and develop a case study, and those are available on coachingfederation.org. And many of them highlight, here's how we did it, here's how we saved. Intel, I think, was the year before last. They demonstrated $1 billion an impact that equated to $1 billion.
Wow.
Cleveland Clinic saved millions of dollars with physician retention. So if you can save one physician from leaving the organization, think about the effects of finding them. So recruiting, selection, training, integrating into the culture, that's pretty significant. And then many indicators, leadership development, engagement surveys, net promoter scores, all of those contribute to the ROI. There's no one formula that fits all, but we have lots of tools and resources to help you focus. And if you think about it as a coach, you're working with each individual, trying to see how we're going to prove that we move the needle, or we made things better, we align with what it is that you wanted to talk about, and calculate that throughout the organization. We're making a significant impact on positive change and transformation to the organization.
Yeah. One of the great questions that we like to ask going in, because somebody's going to say, what's the ROI on coaching? How are you measuring ROI now? And so often we get deer in the headlights looks like, what? Like they're metrics beyond the obvious of financial.
Yeah, agreed. We also see organizations looking at cost savings. So there are companies that are looking at, so we have 3 modalities of coaching: external coaches, internal coaches, and then leaders using coaching skills. And as you're developing internal coaching capabilities, the need for external coaches, that's never going to go away. It's an important part of that. But there's some cost savings, because now some of the coaching is brought in-house. And not only is it effective, the internal coaches are being really effective at coaching other employees, but they find it incredibly rewarding and motivating. So it's increasing their skill set. They're going out and getting training as professional coaches, and we know that's an important part. So this is growing in their professional development. So not only do I do what I have to do for my day job, but I am allowed to coach within the organization, gain hours, and you know how rewarding coaching is. So it's a great effect on everyone within the organization.
Sure. And when you can get a leader, whatever title they wear, whether it's manager or even CEO, right? And they take a coach approach to leading, the results are astounding, Robert.
It is. What we see frequently is, so I'm a senior executive, I get a coach, I find that, wow, this is a great opportunity and this has such an impact. I want coaching for everyone, right? We see a lot of that where you get a senior champion. And then you get organizations that are providing coaching skills to leaders to become more effective, having better conversations, all the coaching skills that we know, having better conversations, asking powerful questions, really getting, being in the moment, presence, having this coach approach. Think about it. Who wouldn't want to work for a leader that uses the coach approach to conversations? Really thinking and listening, active listening.
What? You're listening?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Well, and contrast that with what SHRM keeps finding, somewhere between 58% and almost 2/3 of people leave a job because of a bad boss.
Right.
Look at the antidote for that as teaching coaching skills. They may not all want to go on and become ICF certified. However, they're learning those coaching skills and it's working within the organization. So you talked about a great distinction there that we like to talk about in creating a positive work culture, and that is the differences between external and internal coaches.
Right.
Sketch that out for us a little bit so those in HR listening can understand better what that distinction is.
Yeah, and the distinction is, as we were talking about leaders aren't coaches. Leaders shouldn't coach their direct reports, because when you have a relationship, coach-coachee relationship, you want to be open, you want to be honest, you want to be transparent. What I say to my boss can have consequences, right? So I'm thinking of leaving the organization. I don't know if I want my boss to really know that I'm actively looking employee. Not that that's right. But you're a little guarded when you're talking to your boss because of, and you may be exploring. You may think your coach may help you understand better where you are, what you need to do within the organization. So you, as a leader, you can use coaching skills. Now, internally, lots of organizations are building coaching capabilities internally, and we're helping them find the right accredited programs or accredit their internal programs. That's the support that we provide in coaching organizations to organizations that have joined us. But there's a certain level within the organization. I don't know if the senior executive team would feel comfortable getting coached from 2 or 3 levels below them,
Right.
because of the nature of their conversation. So that's why I said external coaching, executive coaching is always going to be around, and it's always going to be part of the culture of the organization. And you can't ignore that. Also, at a certain level, you want somebody from the outside of the organization to come in and give you a different perspective that you're sometimes internal coaches are very tied to the culture of the organization. They
Right.
understand it. So it depends on the situation, it depends on the individual. So there is room for all three of those modalities of coaching within an organization.
And as you say, the executive suite is best served, if you will, by external coaches so often because they're just asking a different set of questions. They're more
Correct.
powerful, they bring a new dimension, and that in itself generates that new awareness that we want to go from here to here, a new way of thinking about an old problem.
Yeah, challenge, and you're an external, you ask questions to learn more. In doing that, you really provide them with a different perspective or different angle to what it is that they're seeking or asking.
Absolutely. Robert Garcia is my guest on this episode of the Work Positive Podcast. While you're walking the dog or on the Peloton or something, go over to coachingfederation.org, coachingfederation.org. Now, Robert, there's a tab there for coaching in organizations, right?
Correct. Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you for if you are a coach working in an organization or you're leading the coaching initiative or talent development, you're an HR professional that's building up talent and you want to explore how you can transform your organization, go to coachingfederation.org, and we have a separate tab for coaching in organizations. So it's for those organizations that are building a coaching culture and want support and resources. We also have them network with other organizations. So other organizations that are building, like AstraZeneca, and you'll see a list of the companies that are already members. You can network with those individuals. And we find, or our member organizations find, that that's really helpful because if, for instance, we haven't talked about team coaching, but a lot of organizations are building team coaching capabilities where all teams have a coach approach to conversations, building the objectives of the team and working towards those. So many times member organizations are like, how do I start building a team coaching culture? You can ask those that have already built it and ask for advice, and peer-to-peer connections is an important part of the services we provide.
Oh, I love it because I don't want to repeat the mistakes you already
Right. Help me.
from,
Those challenges that you faced, or what worked, what didn't work. We get a
Exactly.
lot of that. We also
Yeah.
have deep dive sessions where we explore what are some of the components and have individuals that have actually gone through it share their expertise, share the challenges that they faced, and how to get more funding for the coaching initiative. That's a question that we always get.
Sponsorship is huge, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
And then the other thing I wanted to highlight is that we just recently did a study. So it's ICF and Human Capital Institute. It's developing a coaching culture study that really talks about all of the components, all the elements that are necessary to build a strong coaching culture. So if you're interested, it's on the website as well.
Oh, that's awesome. Absolutely awesome. So you mentioned challenges in peer-to-peer learning and they're sharing challenges. What are some challenges that you're seeing among organizations who really want to start integrating coaching into their culture?
Yeah, I think the nature of work, building leadership capabilities, retention, even recruiting. I think it's easier to recruit individuals to an organization that has a strong coaching culture, that has a reputation for being an employer of choice. And I think that contributes to It's easier when you have a solid reputation as an employer of choice with a strong coaching culture. And then it also elevates job satisfaction. So some of those challenges, so we're trying to do more with less. We're changing the nature of our business. How do we adapt to this new technology, to AI, ChatGPT? I'm fearful that AI is going to take over my job. Well, let's talk this through. Let's work with your coach to see, do we have to go out and hone in on some skills to be ready for the future work? How do I get my boss to pay for additional training or a program that I want? Let's talk this through. All of that is part of the conversation you have with your coach.
Wonderful. And so those challenges are addressed by coaching. And if you're interested in putting coaching into your organization, you can join the ICF Coaching and Organizations area and learn from your peers who've been there, done that, or are doing that, and some of those challenges that you might face in creating a coaching culture or coaching for a positive work culture, right?
Right.
Prominent in that conversation. So Robert Garcia is Vice President of Coaching and Organizations. Go to coachingfederation.org. Be sure to find that Coaching and Organizations tab, or else you'll be lost among all sorts of credentialing requirements.
Which are the gold standard and rigorous.
Yeah.
And once you are credentialed, you're very appreciative.
Yeah.
And the other advice I give you, if you're working with a coach, you should look at getting an ICF credentialed coach.
Absolutely.
You'll notice the difference.
Truly gold standard. So it's not someone to tell you what to do, to prescribe. It's somebody who's going to work with you and help you describe through new awareness, choosing action that aligns with that new awareness, and then some accountability to make sure you do what you say you want to do. Work Positive Nation always wants me to ask my guest, Robert, so I've got to ask you, VP of Coaching and Organizations. I think I know what you're going to say, but I never want to anticipate. So what's one thing Work Positive Nation can do starting today to create a positive work culture, Robert Garcia?
Oh, goodness. That's a loaded question, but I think one positive thing is the golden rule: treat others as you want to be treated. Always look at, how can I make a difference in somebody's life? And obviously, using the coach approach, seek to understand, ask powerful questions. How can we learn from each other, and how can we treat each other better? I think life is short. We need to really enjoy what we do. And I've always told, so I have 2 daughters, 2 granddaughters, and I've always told them that they need to make obviously good choices, but they need to align with what it is that they want. My favorite quote is like, go confidently in the direction of your dreams, live the life you have imagined. And it's always front and center to really achieving your full potential and being happy.
And a great coach can help you do that.
Correct.
That's why we have Coaching and Organizations, or as I like to say, work the golden rule, because the golden rule works.
Right. That's great. I love that. I love that.
Robert, I've learned so much from you today, and I know Work Positive Nation has. Hey, Work Positive Nation, if you're interested, let's say you're an HR leader and you're interested in learning more about coaching, go to coachingfederation.org. You'll find the Coaching and Organizations tab there. Also, if you're interested in becoming a coach yourself, of course you'll want to receive your ICF certification, so you're matching up in excellence to the gold standard. So there's all kinds of tabs there where you can learn about that process as well. Robert, thank you for your time, your giftedness that you've shared so generously with us today, and especially your wisdom. We appreciate all that you do to make the world a better place, especially companies for coaching and organizations.
Thank you so much, Dr. Joe. It's been a pleasure to be with you. Really enjoyed the conversation, and I know I have a new best friend. We will stay in touch and share grandkid pictures.
Yeah, that's episode number 2 with Robert Garcia, so stay tuned. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Work Positive Podcast. Please share this podcast with your friends who are HR and small business leaders so they can do one thing today to create a positive work culture that increases productivity and profits. I'd like to give you a free Work Positive course just for listening. It's called Something to Talk About. and it's transformed the work conversations of so many people all over the world. Get your free copy when you go to workpositive.today/something to talk about, and you can start transforming your conversations today. Remember, it pays to work positive.